be able to access Black and brown victims of gun violence. And we need that support, because if we're able to access them, we can connect them to resources. We have free therapy, we have free case management, we have free crisis support. We also do workshops and presentations, because we want you to be prepared and empowered to take care of your own trauma and grief, and not have to rely on outside systems and services. We are the most harmed and the last served and the most poorly served, and Urban Grief is here to end that and offer you something that is relevant and necessary in this time. Thank you.
That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And so, already had one. Naomi was all ready. So the next table that we would like to have come up, one of tonight's forming co-sponsors, Vocal New York.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Luke Grandis. I'm a statewide organizer for Vocal New York. Pronouns are they, them, theirs. Wayne, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Wayne. Excuse me. Hi, I'm Wayne. I'm one of the leaders from Vocal New York.
Wayne has been a leader with Vocal New York for over 18 years.
Woo woo!
So we really wanted to bring him up here and show the strength in our organization and the commitment that a leader like this has shown up time and time again. Wayne has been to probably over 183 direct actions that we have. And what we do at Vocal is we are a grassroots organization that is Black-led, that is aimed to end mass incarceration, the war on drugs, homelessness, and decriminalizing sex work. And so we work across all those issues, as well as, you know, working heavily right now on the overdose crisis that's being heavily left out and ignored. We are also looking to start Queerocracy, which is an extension of a program we have in New York City that raised $2 million for LGBTQ housing. And so all of my LGBT and TGNC brothers, sisters, and siblings, come and let us know if you're interested. We want to make things change. We want to provide services. We want to make sure justice is accessible and equitable across the board. So please come learn with us and come run with us. All right,
yes.
Thanks, y'all.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, but I'm going to have to read it because a lot of it I know, but
Community Matters.
like
Community Matters. So also here to, oh, you're standing in front of me. Also here tonight with us is Community Matters. We're just, yeah, we're doing great. We're not doing great.
Hello, my name is Bakari. I'm Director of Community Matters. A little bit about Community Matters is that we go into the communities in Albany, Troy, Schenectady. We actually go door to door, handing out resources from the community, which is donated, and then we go back into the community and hand out those resources. We give, in our brochure, we have substance and alcohol abuse hotlines, mental health services, a little brochure that we put together so that you can have the things that you need at the fingertips, at your fingertips. It may not be for you, but it may be for a friend. And at least you have that stuff that they can do. So where you need to refer them anywhere. And if anything, you can always call us and ask us, like, hey, do you have the number, or you know this organization? We work with everybody in the community because our community does matter. And we need to work with everybody because our communities do matter. So I appreciate everybody. Definitely come sign up for our volunteer list. We actually, when we go out there, we do a cleanup of the streets while we're doing our resources walk. And then after that, we make sure that the community can either speak out against gun violence or have a walk against gun violence. Basically, everything you need is right there. So it's up to the community to make sure that we can do this together. And I appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, it is?
So the next group to come up, if y'all were here this past weekend, you know them. Elevate 518. Elevate 518.
518. We're a Black and Brown women-led group. Basically trying to fight the oppression going on with Black and Brown women in Albany, but we're also fighting for progression as well. So not only do we fight the oppression, but we're taking our ladies somewhere as well. So Elevate 518. Elevate stands for Empowering Ladies to Elevate the Voices of Albany to Excel. So we just want to stress that Elevate is an acronym, so we want to let everyone aware that we are here to amplify the Black and Brown voices in the community. Not only the cisgender women, but also the trans women, the queer women, all of the women, because we're all here together. So thank you for having us here, and we're really excited and love the support that we're getting.
Awesome. Thank you. Yes. What am I missing? Oh, thank you. Oh, Youth FX. Oh, yeah. So the next two groups that I would like to have come up so that we can help on time is if Poor People's Campaign and Youth FX could come on up here and tell folks about who you are, what it is you're doing. I love that I see you running through the crowd. We're all videotaping this right now. Come on, J Nova. Oh, that's okay, but you can stand together.
Hi, y'all. Hey, I'm Karma, pronouns she, they, my name. I'm here today repping Poor People's Campaign. I got involved with PPC after dating all the local orgs in the area for about 4 years because I consider myself a person who is attracted to good organizational work and good vibes. The people at PPC are warm and welcoming, and they are definitely the get shit done type, so I'm all about that. The story of Poor People's Campaign, for those of you who might not know, starts in 1967 with a speech given by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In this seminal speech that he gave, given to over 3,000 people at New York's Riverside Church, Reverend King condemned the Vietnam War. He spoke of the intersections of oppression both here in the U.S. and abroad in Vietnam. He gave a vision of liberation that included poor and oppressed people of all kinds at all the intersections of capitalism, militarism, and last but not least, racism. Today, he is touted by liberal-minded folks for his nonviolence in order to placate the angry masses we see organizing and mobilizing in the streets here and now. But at the time, his name is dragged by mainstream media and Black-led organizations, and I could go off on all of that, but I will save that for later. So King held his ground and continued to emphasize love and justice rather than economic nationalism, which I would call low-hanging fruit. All of that is to say that the PPC is Reverend King's legacy of radical, revolutionary values. Its mission is to build lasting people power by working around key unifying struggles such as incarceration, healthcare, and housing, and by building leadership as we lead. I'm speaking here today, but it took me a while to find that voice, and I did it alone, but that is one of PPC's main missions, to empower people to become the narrators of their own stories in order to shift the bogus narrative that is constantly told in our absence or quietude. You don't have to do it alone. So come to our table, learn about how we structure ourselves, learn about what PPC has done in the past and will be doing in the near future, and see if there's a thing we can have going on.
Awesome, thank you. Youth FX. That's okay. Next up, Youth FX. Youth FX.
Hey everybody. So Youth FX, our table is back there. We are a Black and Brown led organization in the South End of Albany, but we represent the you should come and speak. And one of the things that we really focus on is helping young people of color tell their own stories, because one thing that's really important is that we control our own narratives, and we don't have the corporate mainstream media decide what this movement is about, but we actually get to tell our own stories. So that's what we're doing. We're helping to teach people skills in filmmaking and digital media. And one of the things I just want to point out too is that Youth FX is a hub for a lot of young artists and also a space for people to organize. So out of Youth FX, there's a new organization that's a collaborative Project Try, Elevate 518, Youth FX. It's called YPA. Hey, you guys should check out the table over there where Project Try and YPA is and Youth FX is. And there's an event this Saturday at Lincoln Park. I don't know if anyone from Project Try is going to speak, but I want you guys to check out the table so you can find out more information. One of the students today, you want to say anything about Youth FX?
Just say words. Say words. Say words. Say words.
Say words.
Step this way though, so you don't get feedback. There you go.
Yeah, I'm a Youth FX student. And you know, this Youth FX is a nice program just to have for Black and Latino kids, like just overall, because it feels like as a Black and Latino kid, like you don't really have like many ways out, or, like many talents. Like you don't get recognized if you're not good at like a sport or like I don't know. It just I don't know. There's not many like different like routes for Black and Latino kids, but so Youth FX is like another just outlet for kids who want to do something different. And just this and just a nice program, I guess.
Thank you. I got you. Let's switch. Sure. Oh my God.
I was multitasking. I do want to make sure that Charge for Black Lives comes up and speaks about who they are and what they are doing. Will it be the wonderful Amani? Woo!
Yes!
To the right, to the right, to the right. Yes, this way.
Okay, hey, peace, everybody.
Sorry.
Come on, Black Lives! Yeah.
Woo!
Every time I say Black Lives, I be wishing everybody would just say Black Lives back, but I know we're like in Black Lives Matter mode. So for this one moment, can we just appease me? Can we just say Black Lives with the same energy that I got? Black Lives!
Black lives! Black lives! Black lives!
Everything. Black Lives Matter, Black Lives glisten, Black Lives make it so all other lives are possible to be free. I don't know, that's all I had to say. So True Black Lives is an organization made up of folks who live in Troy. We've been organizing for about 3 years regarding police accountability around brutality and murder of civilians. And so, yeah, ever since the shooting of Dominique McDonald, as well as the murder and the cover-up of the murder of Edson Thevenin, we have been organizing and requiring accountability for the people who are supposed to protect and serve us. And Troy is no different from all these other cities that say Black Lives Matter, but then we're like, okay, actually put your money and your energy towards things that are actually healing for Black communities. And so we're passionate about defunding the police and investing in Black communities.
Yes!
That are healing for Black communities. Many of us probably actually believe in the abolition of police, but we understand we gotta, like, you know, whatever, we're in this time, we're playing this game and saying these things.
Big facts.
Nonetheless, there was a time before police, there's gonna be a time without them.
Yup.
I'm ready. So, we are here. We're holding our leaders, communities accountable to the city, and really just for a push for Troy to be safe for all people. So if you live in the city of Troy, we would love your support with writing letters to the city council around all of our different demands regarding how all Black lives, regardless of how these Black lives move and love and be in the world, matter. And if you're not in Troy, you're very, very, very invited to donate. It allows us to, those of us who have the energy and time to do this work full time, to keep doing it. And also, just you can amplify our work. We're on all the social media platforms. We have a website, TroyForBlackLives.com. We're so excited and energized to be out here. We can't wait to do a teaching series just like what is popping off right now after this. And we're going to be out here with the action and the education and the energy that we all need and thrive on. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Woo!
Y'all fell asleep or something. What happened? Did you not hear all of this beautiful Black love and energy and power and creativity? All of these organizations that are fighting for Black liberation and Black freedom? That are demanding justice? That are calling for the end to
organization for like 5 days. Our fearless leader is actually in a board meeting right now discussing how we're going to make change in the South End community. Her name is Ja. Her story is that she has been an Albany local living here her entire life, and she's a current UAlbany undergraduate student, and she is the leader of Project Try. She, after the protest downtown in the South End community, there was a lot of things to be cleaned up, and she put out on social media who's going to clean this up, and she had a huge outpouring of support from the community. During that time and during the community cleanup, she talked with a lot of the local leaders and a lot of the local business owners and found out that many people are struggling to stay afloat in the South End community with their businesses, many of which are Black-owned businesses. So from that conversation, she created Project Try. She started with a GoFundMe, and it kind of took off from there. She brought in a bunch of people, all of which I don't know their names because I've only been here for 5 days. And she has created this incredible organization. We're hosting an event this Saturday on the 8th of August from 2 to 7 p.m. in Lincoln Park. All of the donations that we get and the fundraising that we're going to be doing, all of that money is going to go back to the Black and Brown-owned businesses in the South End community. And there's going to be a DJ, there's going to be some rolled ice cream and some fried dough, so come out and support, please. Thank you.
So we have one more person to talk about, one more group. I think I've got everyone. I have 2 more, my bad. Because we need to make sure that capital area against mass incarceration is heard. And then after that, my wonderful protest daughter, Michaela Foster, will come and talk about all of that. Cam.
Thank you for telling me that. Thank you so much for telling me. Right now. Yeah, I just did. Do you want me to just go up after her?
That is directed against Black lives in this country. This country has more people in prison than any other country in the world, and the majority of them are people of color. So Cami has been active locally, but also has been part of building a statewide coalition, because most of the people incarcerated in the United States are incarcerated in state prisons, and that's the case here in New York as well. So Cami has been active in forming a statewide set of organizations fighting to decarcerate New York State, fighting to end the oppression and suffering of people in prison in New York State. And what I would like you to do, I didn't manage to get a table set up, but we are sharing a table with Troy for Black Lives, and one of the services that we provide is an e-list that lets you know about all these activities around decarceration and around changing state policies toward decarceration. And if you come to the Troy for Black Lives table, I will set up a list that you can join so that you will receive the information about the decarceration efforts for to change policies in New York State. Black Lives Matter in prison. Decarcerate New York State. Decarcerate this country.
Woo! Just go ahead. Do not go next to the speaker.
Next up, we have Thomas from RAP, Releasing Aging People in Prison.
Woo-hoo!
Thank you. Look at this. Yo, it is so good to see all these organizations out here today together. Everybody standing together in solidarity, because we all know that nothing happens if we don't stand together. They don't care about most of our issues. And if we don't stand united, then we get absolutely nothing done. I'm Thomas, as Lou said, Capital Region Organizer for RAP, Release Aging People in Prison campaign. We are a grassroots organization started by ex-cons who realized that the parole system was ineffective and just kept people locked into a paradigm of perpetual punishment. I mean, no matter how much time you did, no matter how much you helped yourself during incarceration, you can get degrees, you can do all the programs they tell you to do, and they still don't want to let you go because the nature of the events, which will never change. We believe that you cannot judge a person by the worst day of their lives, and we believe that every human being is redeemable. We've got 2 bills that are in the legislature right now. I'm gonna wrap this up, but if you want to have more information, I'll be over at the Poor Person's Campaign table. Come and see me.
Awesome. Do not stand next to the speaker. Move the mic away from the speaker. Oh, yeah. The only time we ever move to the right.
Hey, y'all.
Hey!
So, my name is Michaela Foster. I am the Youth Outreach Programmer for All of Us Community Action. We are currently based in Schenectady. We are a Black-led group committed, deeply committed to the justice and liberation of all people, specifically Black, Brown, Indigenous, trans, non-binary people. So,
yes!
Give it up for those people. But in all seriousness, currently all of us has been on the ground working for the liberation of all people, specifically centering Black Lives Matter. That is the motivation, that is the work that we are doing, and this is what we are looking for when we look out at the people surrounding us. We're looking to see a little glimpse of Black Lives Matter in your eye and in your mind and in your heart, because that's the work that needs to be done. And when we say Black Lives Matter, we mean all Black Lives Matter.
That's
all
right.
of us, literally, have to matter. And that's what we're looking at, that's what we're doing. We're currently working on our 13 demands in our initiative to push against state-sanctioned violence. The way that our country puts people in cages, the way that our country allows state-sanctioned brutality against Black, Brown, Indigenous, and trans people is disgusting, and that is exactly what we are working against right now. We will continue to show up in this fashion. You know, honestly, I usually have a lot more energy, but I'm feeling really emotional looking out at how many people came out today just to get more information about what it looks like to show up for your community, to show up for yourself, and to show up for your people. So that's why I'm just honestly taken aback at what this looks like today. So give a round of applause for yourself for doing the work and understanding that as a sentiment, as a demand, and as a movement, Black Lives Matter. The energy that Amani has, I think, when we say Black Lives, matter is the minimum. And that's why when we're focusing on not only our 13 demands, but what Troy for Black Lives is doing, or the Poor People's Campaign is doing, we're centering the idea that Black life is necessary. We're the necessary component within this country. So whether you're signing our demands or whether you're signing their demands, sign the demands and continue to show up to do the work. And that's what Black August is about. That's what we're about to kick off. So thank you for listening to me. My name is Michaela Foster. My pronouns are they, them, because non-binary Black Lives matter too.
Yes!
And before I go and we get into some education, I want us to get into a mind frame and a spirit frame to understand what it means to show up for Black lives. You cannot just understand that they matter, that they're necessary, but you have to believe and make yourself imagine a world that's better than this. So I dare you right now to spend some time, not just signing up and coming out and showing up, but spending some time with yourself, imagining what a world can look like when we reframe it through the power of the people. Imagine what it can look like when Black lives not only matter, but they're thriving, they're flourishing, they're growing, they're bonding, they're connecting. They're spiritually present in every way, shape, and format. I'm here, you're here, and we are going to be here in the future. And I want everyone to be able to imagine that. So if you don't mind, can you say after me, I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
And take that home with you. May that be the most important thing that that you take home today, whether you take home a pamphlet or you take home a Facebook page and you take home the work that needs to be done and you do it, take home the idea that you can and will imagine a world where everyone belongs. And the equity does not threaten anybody else's equity.
That's right.
And my life is not a threat. And I am valued and appreciated, and I have what I need to live and thrive. And I'm not worried about surviving anything. There's nothing for me to survive anymore. So believe in the people surrounding you, and believe in yourself, and believe in all of us, and believe in power to the people, and be a leader, and Troy for Black Lives, and all these things that are here today. Believe in the future of what this can look like and say, I am going to put my name on what the future looks like. And I believe that Black Lives matter and that Black Lives will be here, present in the future of what this world looks like. Thank you.
Because this is what it looks like. This is what unity looks like. And unity is one of the tenets of Black August. Know that unity is part of Black August. So I'm standing here right now. Y'all just showed your ass for Black August. So let's get into some political education, because we didn't just come here to be friends, but we did. We didn't just come here to meet people we never knew before and bond in ways that will keep us together forever, but we did. We also need to all continue to learn and have a deeper understanding of our history so that we can move forward to our future. And there's no one that I currently know, and I mean this in all sincerity, that studies history stronger than Sean Young.
That's my dad.
The books, the podcasts, the documentaries. So if we're going to have a conversation about how Black August started, how it was founded, how we got here today, well then Sean's going to tell us.
Yeah!
You are incredibly inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you. Here, can you take this real quick, Mom?
Yes, no, yes.
I just really want to. Really want to.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
There I go. So everybody, my name is Sean Young, co-founder of All of Us. And listen, I am so very happy to be here. This is what Black August is about. It's about freedom, it's about liberty, it is about coming together to win, as my beautiful daughter just told you all. I believe that we will win, and that is a fact. What you just heard, before I got up here, all the number of speakers that came up to represent the organizations, they are freedom fighters in our community.
Yes!
They are freedom fighters in our community.
That's right.
Freedom fighting doesn't mean, you know, just picking up a gun or a machete or a knife or some sort of physical battle. Freedom is doing the work that you see from all of these organizations. Freedom is getting involved. Freedom is loving one another. Freedom is unity. Freedom is doing exactly what we are doing now. And I hope everybody in the back can hear me. Freedom is about this. It is about us. It is about all of us. That's why I love this name. I didn't like this name when it first was brought to me as the name title of our organization, I'll be honest. But I love it now. It is about all of us. So to get into some of the history of Black August, like I said a second ago, Black August is about liberation. Black August is about our freedom fighters. And more specifically, Black August is about George Jackson. Does anybody know who George Jackson is? Show of hands. George Jackson. I don't care if you don't know who he is. I need a round of applause for George Jackson.
Yes! Yes!
I'm going to tell you a little bit what I know about him. George Jackson was 19 years old when he was incarcerated. He was 19 years old when he was incarcerated in California, sent to Quentin. 19 years old, giving a 1-to-life sentence. 1 to life. 1 year. You'll get parole anytime we decide to give it to you after that. George Jackson did 11 more years in prison. and was assassinated shortly thereafter. Now, there's a lot that happened in that 11 years, and I'll tell you about it now. He wrote 2 books. He became one of the strongest voices in the movement, in the revolution of the time for freedom for black people.
That's right.
He wrote Soledad Brothers, which is a compilation of all his letters to his family during the trials and tribulations that he was going through. He wrote Blood in My Eye, a rendition of his life and his life with his comrades and the struggle inside prison and both outside. George Jackson was such a powerful man, and powerful, I think, character of his time, that those who mourned his death afterward decided in prison to commemorate his death every year. That tradition met us out here in the community sometime afterwards, and this is why we are here in Black August. It expanded to not just mean those in prison, but to mean all our freedom fighters.
That's right.
All our revolutionary moments. Because if you think that slavery started here for 400 years and we just sat here quietly and took it like it ain't shit, then y'all wrong.
That's right. That's right.
The struggle has been ongoing, and we are the generation of that. That is our ancestral history. We have been fighting the whole time here. The monster that we are fighting is just so big and so strong that it still exists. But this is the beginning of our time, of our generation's fight, and I love the fact that you are here. A little more about George Jackson. He had a brother named Jonathan Jackson. Jonathan Jackson, in the struggle, a revolutionary himself, was killed attempting to break his brother out of prison. He decided that he wanted to take over a judicial house and a judge and some other folks there, and it didn't end well for him, and George Jackson and the Soledad Brothers didn't get out. But the fight, the struggle, the courage to stand up against tyranny, to stand up against oppression, to stand up against all the ills that we see every day of our life is what Black August is about. It was what the energy George Jackson had, is what the energy that Jonathan Jackson had, is the energy of Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Assata Shakur, Angela Davis, all of our freedom fighters, all of them throughout history have paved the way for us to be here today in this moment. You best remember that without our history, how are we going to move forward? Where are we going? How will we know what our future holds, or how can we traverse the ills that we still see today without knowing where we've been and the mistakes that we made in our past? I want to say that this moment for me, similar to George Jackson and his life, let me go there first. So, similar to George Jackson, I too was incarcerated at 19 years old. I too did not know that I would be here in the revolution fighting the fight that I'm fighting right now with all of you. I did not know this. I read Soledad Brothers, I read Blood in My Eye, and many other books at the age of 19, and 20, 21, and 22. And I unlearned, hear what I'm saying, I unlearned the education that I got coming up through state-sanctioned schools and this society that I am, the way I was socialized. I unlearned all of that, and I learned how to be free. I want to say that again. I learned how to be free. I learned to challenge myself and to challenge my ideas and to challenge my society. I understood that it wasn't just about what I was told. It wasn't just about what I saw, that there was history to how we got here. There was history in the ways in which my people have been fighting forever, but that I was not told. There were revolutionaries in our history I never knew about. I didn't know who James Baldwin was. I didn't know who George Jackson was. I didn't know Angela Davis. I didn't know any of the many, many black and brown revolutionaries in our communities throughout history that fought for me to stand here today. And this bee's all in my face. Yeah. I don't know, this is a problem I've been having lately with these bees. But I didn't know who they were. But I learned, and I challenge all of you to learn. Because if you showed up here and you didn't know what Black August was, now you know a little bit more. I didn't give you the entire history or the outgrowth of it. That's up to you. That's your job. That's your responsibility. That's your duty to your community, because it ain't just about showing up and showing your face and taking a picture. You need to come, you need to get involved, you need to learn, you need to educate yourself and those around you about the moment that we're in, the history of this fight, and where you want to be, because it takes all of us doing this work, coming together to change our world. It is not going to be done for the asking. It has to be done for the demanding. Look at all the speakers that came up here today, all the beautiful people that came up here today to talk about the organizations, talk about what they're trying to do in the community, the fight that they're in, the fight that we are in. Because if you're here, best believe you're in the fight. You're in the fight. Recognize that you are in the fight. Do what you need to do to make change happen in your communities and your individual life like I did. I learned, and that's why I'm here. I'm not ashamed of where I've been or where I've gone, because without going through what I went through, I wouldn't be here today with y'all. I wouldn't be here today to celebrate Black Lives. I wouldn't be here in this position, in this moment, as a co-founder of an organization that's doing hella work, in the community. So I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna bring up Miss Luz Marquez Bimbo to connect Black Lives and Black August together. But before I do that, I got my own chant. I was sitting here and I want y'all to help me out. It's not too much from Black Lives to Black Lives Matter, but it's just when I say Black, you say August. Black
August!
Black
August!
Black
August!
Black
August! August! August!
That's right. That's the revolutionary power, y'all. I love you so much.
Please, I can cry. That's my dad. That's my mom too.
No.
My arm's tired. I hate this job. I'm not good at it. Tell Casey to come do this.
Right, this is hard to stand up and just talk from a mic, because I like to move. Because the spirit moves me. You can laugh all you want.
Ashe.
But I believe in the spirit. And so, happy Black August, people. And I'm going to need y'all to pay attention. Because Black August is about reflection. It's about going back. And it's about recommitting ourselves to what a movement means in this century. So I need y'all all, if you can hear my voice, let me hear you yell. If you can hear my voice, let me hear you yell. So most of what I'm going to say to you comes right from George Jackson's mouth. Why? Because we are magical as all hell. And we wrote letters in the 70s and the 60s that feel like I was reading about today in this exact freaking moment. But it was so scary. Like I felt like, and I'm not joking about the spirit. See, because when we take to the streets and we take them back, we don't do that shit alone.
Period.
And so our ancestors are always with us. And George Jackson is one of them. This message about Black August and this message about Black Lives is precisely for us. We're not just in the capital region rising. We're rising all over the globe. We're rising in every major city across the United States. Hell yeah. So while we are here today, our comrades are in Brazil, in Africa, in Jamaica, in my homeland of Puerto Rico, in Asia, all over the world. And we have got to connect those links. We have got to stop and listen and connect those links. Why? Because when George Jackson was organizing in the prison, it was a revolutionary time. Yes. And we were all on stat. We were all in line. We were all in line. And so we here need to reflect and think about these words. Not just because I'm a nerd and I like history too, but because I think we get to learn about the tactics that are used then that we can bring back today, or we can say, that shit worked then, it ain't gonna work now. We need a new one. Do you understand? Do you understand what I mean about tactics? Do you understand what I mean about a strategy? And so that everything you do is the tactic that leads you to a strategy, to a what? A bigger goal. So we're not just protesting just for the sake of protesting, people. We're not just writing to our city council for the sake of writing. Those are all different tactics that we use. And so George Jackson used those tactics in what I think was the hardest place to organize, which is where? In prison. And for most of that time, he was in solitary confinement. How the hell do you goddamn organize when you're in solitary confinement? So we have got to pick up that book and read those letters. He says, global solidarity with the people of the global south. He called them something else then, but that's what we're connecting it from then to now. And the global south is what? Do you know? The global south is everything south of the United States and Asia. And that is where many of our people who are represented here come from. And while this is about black lives here in the States, it's about black lives in Latin America, in Africa, and it is about Asians and Pacific Islanders who get treated like they're black folks. And so we've got to make those connections. We are one with the people of the world because we have the same enemy, he tells us. He says the same enemy is the rulers of who? Of the United States, people. And guess where we live?
United States.
And so what is our job?
Tear down the United States.
What is our job? It's the biggest enemy of the entire colonial oppressed world is the United States.
Tear down the United States.
Our job is to organize. Our job is to come together like we are tonight. And despite political belief, is to come together and to organize. Do you get it? Our solidarity with the people of the South is based on the fact that the main enemy is the oppressor, the economic and military aggressor against the people of the South, who are overwhelmingly people of color in the U.S. and a system of global patriarchal, which is white supremacy. This is what he was telling us in 1970. It's 2020. In 1970, he wrote, "Fascism has taken possession of this country. The interlocking dictatorship of county level on up to the Grand Dragon in Washington, D.C. This continues to be true not just for us here in the U.S., but across Latin America. And if you look at Brazil, but Bolsonaro, if you look at Colombia, if you look at most of Latin America, it is all taken over by a dictatorship, with the exception of who? Cuba. Yes. Do you understand?
Supported by the U.S.
Do you understand? The Haitian Revolution did what? They called on freedom at every sacrifice. Examine the links between capitalism, mass incarceration. Why is it that in this current moment of black rising, when we go to protest, they come at us with tear gas. They come at us with rubber bullets. They come at us with tanks. Do you know why? Because mass incarceration supports the capitalistic way of this world. And to tear it down means we tear the world down. And so when we talk about abolition, that is what we're talking about. And I can tell you, as a rape survivor, I believe in abolition, because it is not going to end and make me safer to put my people in prison. In June 1970, he tells us that the people's government, whose government?
The people.
Oh, who are the people?
We are the people.
That's right. The people's government would decentralize this power that they hold over us. He's telling us, people, He is writing to us, and he is telling us exactly what we need to do. So we need to do what? Decentralize the government. The people's government needs to decentralize the government. Now, I'm not a fool to think that some of you are like, oh shit, what the hell is she talking about? I'm talking about unpacking the fucking United States government. Absolutely. And what does that look like? And how do we get there? And how do we get there? Tear it down! 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 No amount of action, preaching, or teaching will spark a revolution if the social conditions do not warrant it. I say that our social conditioning are over fucking dude. Our people are being killed in the street like they're dispensable. Our women are being abused. We can't even have a kid without freaking dying, so that our lives as black women are on the pole. Like, we're just gonna die if we don't figure out how to change this. Our children are housed from the ages of 15, incarcerated with adults. We have got to figure this out, people. You cannot be complacent with the status quo. We can't. We have a big ass dictator in that White House. Grace Lee Boggs, which is one of my most feminist mentors, my biggest mentor is a feminist activist. And she says, to make a revolution, people must not only struggle against existing institutions, they must make a philosophical, spiritual leap and become more human. More human. In order to change, transform the world, they must change and transform themselves. It is then that I believe we are ready. We're not ready yet, people. Because some of us are just getting transformed as the movement is happening. And so in order for us to get ready, we got to do some of that hard work you had Sean talk about. We have to do some of that work internally with each other. I'm going to end with, there was a lot more I wanted to say, but I'm going to end with, and these were one of his most famous quotes that George Jackson left us with. Settle your quarrels. Come together. Understand the reality of our situation. Understand that fascism is already here. That people are already dying who could be saved. That generations more will live poor, butchered half lives if you fail to act. Do what must be done. Discover your humanity and your love in revolution. Thank you.
All right, so coming up, we're going to watch a film shortly. They're going to get that all set up. But I'd be remiss if I didn't read this poem. It's from a brother of mine who's still incarcerated right now. He's been incarcerated since 2001. His release date is like almost 2030. We're hoping through some of the bills that we're trying to get passed that we can get him home, releasing age of people from prison, less is more, etc. We're trying to make that happen so we can get him home. But he sent me this, and we're talking about freedom fighting. We're talking about a revolution. We're talking about all of those who are behind bars and out here who are fighting in this struggle, and he's one of them. He's got a couple of degrees since he's been incarcerated. He mentors others when they come through. He does the work. He helps people with their appeals, with their court cases, and just helps people get by in that struggle. Because when you're in there, best believe, if anyone knows what it felt like for our ancestors to be enslaved, it's them. Because that is a new form of slavery today, best believe it. They are your owners of your body. You do not leave unless you are killed or unless you got permission. So let me read some of his words to you all. This is about his experience in his life. So if you bear with me, I'll go through it. I wish he was here to do this himself. I can't breathe. I manage to gasp. I entertain my mortality. I don't want to die. I think. The weight of these 3 burly officers atop my 160-pound frame forces my mind into a panic. I am wedged between these 3 white men and the opaque blue linoleum tiles. The blood, my blood, pooling underneath my face threatens to drown me. My attempt to wriggle free is futile. If only I can buy my lungs a second of oxygen. I am pinned down, and the air refuses to enter my nostrils. The weight upon me is too... I really don't mean to move or resist, but if I don't, then I willingly forfeit my being to these men. No, I willingly offer my existence to these 3 officers for simply saying no. I can't. The excruciating pain from the handcuffs digging into my bony wrists and delicate skin subsides. The piercing pain of my dislocated shoulders evaporates. I cannot feel my arms. The hurtful pain of the perspiration and blood mixture from gash above my left eye disappears. My entire body grows numb. My ribcage feels as brittle as toothpicks under the pressure of these men, and the pressure building behind my eyes is gone. Only for a few seconds, I leave this world. I see my mother's ebony face streaked with tears and telling me to fight. I see my daughter's beautiful smiles telling me never to give up. I see my brother's piercing eyes telling me to try harder. I see myself lying in a pool of my own blood saying, why did you say no? Then I see blood. Then I see blood. Then I see blood. The excruciating pain in my dislocated shoulders return. The indelible fire in my oxygenless lungs begins again. My legs involuntarily shake. My bowels give in to their will. My ears pop. I hear the grunts, the obscenities, the N-words invade my consciousness. The pungent fragrance of chewing tobacco promises to draft the oxygen. The intrusive trace of disinfectant cleanser invades my nostril and offers me assurances of survival. I feel a pair of arms wrapped around my thin legs. I feel fists pounding against my torso. I feel a knee grinding into my neck as one officer rests casually on me. As the life ebbs from my vulnerable body, I wonder why? 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 Why are these 3 correction officers doing this to me? After all, I only said no to an order to turn my music down. Is this simple refusal worth my life? By Lamar Reed. I want to tell you, as I read that, and I hadn't read that yet, I wanted to read that just off the top and get those words and get that feeling and get that emotion. I just took it for what it was, and here I am. The reasons why we come out and fight in the last recent months, the reason why your passions have been inflamed, your sense of justice or injustice has been piqued, the sense that something is wrong with what you've seen on your television screen or your Facebook Live or some sort of media platform. What you're seeing and you're so outraged about, and why many of you showed up today, and why some of these organizations have popped up and began to fight even harder, those acts happen every day in prison. Every day, for our brothers, for our community, for our sisters, for all those behind the wall. This happens every day. The abuses, the mistreatment, the lack of care and the lack of love happens every day. So when I'm out here screaming Black Lives Matter, and I goddamn mean Black Lives Matter when I say it, I mean y'all out here, and I mean those that's behind the wall as well. I never forget my brothers in Black August. If we're having a revolution, in our community, we have to think about our brothers behind the wall. Black August started with those behind the wall and celebrating those behind the wall. So never forget that. Never forget that they are a part of this community as well. They deserve our love. They deserve our family. They deserve everything we got here, the same chances we have, and I will be that damn sure to make sure I give it to them, and I hope that you all too.
So we are wrapping up. August is a powerful month. It is not just what happened in the 60s and 70s, but throughout history. August has been a powerful Black month. Filled with fights and struggles of Black people, showing their power and determination for liberation. So there is no way we can close without hearing just a couple of those moments throughout history where Black people showed their strength and their power and determination through unspeakable odds. Starting in 1619. Starting in 1619. So Brother Thomas is going to come up and give us just some of those dates for us to see that history that we come from for the future we're moving toward.
First, I want to take a step back and thank the brother Sean for sharing that piece. It was every line. I felt every line. There's no lies. Every day behind the wall, that shit happens. It must stop. You see how they got video cameras out here and you see it every day? You do not see it when it's behind the wall. You see how they, you know, throw your criminal history on them the moment someone dies. Oh, he stole a pack of cookies when he was 10. So it was okay to shoot him. For those who are behind the wall, it's even easier to dismiss their lives because they've been convicted of a crime. That shit has got to stop. I'm ashamed to say that I don't have these dates and information on cap because it is my history, it is our history, and I should, and I'm going to make sure I do that. But for right now, I'm going to read August 1619. A journal entry reported that 20 or so Angolan individuals kidnapped by the Portuguese arrived in the British colony of Virginia, were then purchased by English colonists. The date and the story of the enslaved Africans have become symbolic of the roots of slavery and what we now refer to as these United States of America. August 22nd, 1791, the Haitian Revolution. We was just talking about that earlier. The Haitian Revolution was a successful insurrection by self-liberated enslaved people against French colonial rule.
It's okay. Can I hold the line?
On August 30th, 1800, Gabriel Prosser's planned attempt to lead a rebellion of enslaved people in Richmond, Virginia is suppressed.
I was like, I'm already...
August 21st and 22nd, 1850. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped an important one. August 21st, 1831, Nat Turner leads the most successful rebellion of enslaved Africans in U.S. history. While the rebellion was suppressed, believe that blood ran. The Nat Turner Rebellion is also known as the Southampton Insurrection. August 21st and 22nd, 1850, the Fugitive Slave Law Convention was held in, where is that? New York. Organized, Cazenovia, sorry. Organized to oppose passage of the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 by the U.S. Congress. Participants, including Frederick Douglass, the Edmondson sisters, Garrett Smith, Samuel Joseph May, and Theodore Dwight Weld, among others. August 30th, 1861. Fremont, Emancipation in Missouri, proclamation placed the state of Missouri under martial law and decreed that all property of those bearing arms of rebellion would be confiscated. Property including enslaved people. August 30th, 1948, Fred Hampton, American Black Panther Party activist and revolutionary socialist is born. Fred Hampton came to prominence in Chicago as chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party and deputy chairman of the National Black Panther Party. August 19th, 1958, Clara Luper and the NAACP Youth Council conduct the largest successful sit-in to date on drugstore lunch counters in Oklahoma City. This starts a successful 6-year campaign by Luper and the council to desegregate businesses and related institutions in Oklahoma City. August 27th, 1960, and I want you guys to think about this, because August 27th, 2020, I ain't gonna call him by name, but the orange man in the White House is holding a rally in this same place. And believe me, he is not using his rally as an attempt to bring people together. This was Axe Handle Saturday in Jacksonville, Florida. This is where he's holding his rally. This is where people who were sitting in were chased around Jacksonville by white people with axe handles, beaten in the streets, and the police did absolutely fucking nothing. Why would our president choose to hold a rally on this date in that place? I think y'all already know. I'm gonna move on to August 20th, 1962. March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom is held. Martin Luther King Jr. gives his I Have a Dream speech. August 12th, 1971. George Jackson was assassinated by guards at San Quentin Prison during a prison rebellion. Rebellion! Yes! Rebellion! Jackson became involved in revolutionary activity and co-founded the Marxist-Leninist Black Guerrilla Family. In 1970, he was charged along with 2 other Soledad brothers with the murder of prison guard John Vincent Mills in the aftermath of a prison fight. The same year, he published Soledad Brother, the Prison Letters of George Jackson, a combination of autobiography and manifesto addressed to a Black American audience. The book became a bestseller and earned Jackson personal fame. Jackson was killed during attempted prison escape in 1971. We're stopping where we began, even though we do have so many more dates. Over 40 years ago, Jackson pleaded, settle your quarrels, come together, understand the reality of our situation. Understand that fascism is already here, that people are dying who could be saved, that generations more will die or live poor, butchered half-lives if you fail to act. Do what must be done, discover your humanity and your love of revolution. Pass on the torch. Join us. Give your life for the people.
Woo!
So it looks like our film's gonna start shortly. I'm gonna play a little bit of tunes. You guys get to know each other a little more, because this is about unity. This is about coming together. Look to your left, look to your right. If there's someone you don't know, say hi. Say hi. Meet somebody. Talk to them. It ain't about just sitting by yourself and saying nothing, because that ain't how we gonna win. Is that how we win? No. Can any one of y'all win this fight on your own?
No.
Exactly. It's going to take all of us coming together to make this work. Every organization, every person in the community, every person who cares. I don't care where you're from, what your background is, however you identify. We need you in this fight. You are valuable. Your voice is valuable. Your energy, your time is valuable. So look at someone you may not have met. Just say hi. I ain't saying you got to exchange information, but say hi. Why'd you show up today? What are you here for? This is why I'm here. That's all it takes. I don't see everybody looking. I see you looking at me. Look at somebody you don't know and just say hi. The film's gonna start shortly. I'm gonna play a little bit of music.
Tiger Lily?
Bear with me. Love you.
Okay. Okay. Oh, there. Oh my god, wait, hold this. My knee popped out. My knee popped out. Hold this real quick. Hold it, we're gonna pop it back in. Here we go. Look at that. Okay. I was like, somebody hold this. I was like, I know you, hold this. I know you. You know me? We're just here at our community outreach event. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Everyone's getting to know each other. Hi, I don't know if you wanted me to end or keep walking around looking at people. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, hold on. Yeah.
So like, I was just...
Hey! So we're gonna shut off Facebook Live and then follow us, share. See y'all later. Black August, what up?